The radio crackled, broken by static and panic. "We're done," a voice whispered, almost swallowed by the river's roar. The words hung in the air like a verdict. Seals were pinned down. The enemy had them surrounded. Their escape route was flooded. The river, once a quiet ribbon of water, had become a deadly barrier, cold, fast, and unforgiving. And somewhere beneath it, a teenager held her breath. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. She wasn't supposed to be there. Not really. She was the kind of girl who people overlooked. Quiet, thin, with a face that looked too young to be in a war zone. She carried supplies, not weapons. She delivered ammo, not orders. Her job was to keep the team moving, not to be the one who stopped them from falling. But she had a secret. She was a sniper. Not just any sniper. Was a sniper who had learned to read the world the way others read books, slowly, carefully, with patience. She had learned to wait, to breathe, to be invisible. Now, the world was asking her to be visible. The river's water slapped against the rocks like a warning. The air smelled of wet earth and burning fuel. The seals' boots sank into mud, heavy with exhaustion. The enemy's rifles cracked in bursts, each one a cruel punctuation mark in the chaos. The squad leader's voice came through the radio again. "We're pinned. We're losing men. If we stay, we die." He said it like it was already decided. Like the war had already chosen its winners and losers. She felt her heart twist. She thought of her mother's hands, calloused from work. She thought of her father's eyes, the way they watched her like she was made of glass. She thought of the first time she held a rifle, how it had felt like holding the world in her hands. She thought of the team. The men who didn't know her name, the ones who treated her like a ghost. She rose from the river like a shadow, water dripping from her hair, rifle strapped to her shoulder. Her movements were slow, deliberate, as if the world had slowed down just for her. The seals looked at her as if they'd seen a ghost. "Who is that?" someone whispered. They had been so sure they were done, so sure that no one could save them. And then she appeared like a promise they hadn't earned but desperately needed. She crawled forward, the mud swallowing her knees. Every step was a battle between fear and duty. Her hands were numb from the cold. Her lungs burned. She reached the edge of the riverbank and raised the rifle. The enemy didn't notice at first. They were too busy celebrating their trap, too busy believing the seals were finished. She waited, she listened. She watched the movement of their bodies, the rhythm of their breathing, the way they leaned into the wind. Then she fired. The shot was clean. It sliced through the air and found its target with terrifying precision. One enemy fell. The second shot followed, then a third. The enemy's celebration turned to confusion. Their rhythm broke. Their confidence shattered like glass. The seals felt it immediately. The shift in the air, the change in the enemy's heartbeat, began to move. One by one, the seals stood, their bodies rising like a tide. They began to coordinate, to push forward, to reclaim the ground that had almost swallowed them. The commander's voice came through the radio again, but this time it was different. It wasn't despair, it was shock. It was awe. What the hell? Who is she? She didn't answer. She didn't need to. Her rifle spoke for her. The enemy began to retreat, their ranks breaking apart like a storm losing its power. The river, which had once been a barrier, now became a path and escape route. The seals moved like a wave, flowing through the chaos with renewed strength. They were no longer done. They were alive. When the last enemy fell, the river went quiet again. The air was still, as if the world itself was holding its breath. The seals gathered around her, their faces filled with disbelief and gratitude. The team leader finally approached. He looked at her, really looked at her for the first time. He didn't say thank you. He didn't need to. He simply nodded, the way soldiers do when they recognize something true. In that moment, the team learned a lesson that would stay with them forever. Strength doesn't always come from the biggest, loudest person in the room. Sometimes it comes from the one who's been silent the longest. Because courage isn't about how you look. It's about what you do when the world tells you you're finished. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. And as the river flowed on, the sun broke through the clouds, casting a golden line across the water like a reminder that even in the darkest moments, hope can rise. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Whispered Words for more emotional mission stories. If you think someone is weak, wait until they decide they're not.